Oh, it's going to be a bad night for Mayhem or anybody who steps in the octagon with him. He's definitely, like I said, I've never seen him like this in training camp. Mentally, and that for CB, that's huge. He comes in wanting to work out, wanting to put in the time. He's already put in way more time than he has in any of his fights. He's going to be in shape. He's hungry. He has new skills. And that year off, it's been a long time. He's been thinking about it. He's been watching us all fight, win fights, and he wants that. He wants to come back and do that also. So, yeah, I mean, he's coming in as an underdog, and his opponent's been talking a lot of trash, how he doesn't even deserve to be in there with him, and I think it's going to be a rude awakening, in that fight on that night, and CB's going to look the best he's ever looked. We have the formula now, what it takes to be successful. We have the coaches in place, we have the training in place, and we just got that, a couple fights ago, from Aaron and I. We finally, got everything running together and know how we need to work. And so, CB jumping right in there and he's going to be successful also.
More from Power MMA and Fitness with the Doberman, CB Dollaway, coming off a detached labrum in his hip. He will be fighting Jason Mayhem Miller May 26th, Memorial Day weekend in Vegas at the MGM Grand. And CB, we talked about how anxious you are to get back into the octagon, but man, I know you cannot wait to walk through that door and fight anybody, but Mayhem Miller, you've had your sights set on him now for a while.
Yeah, it'll be good. Funny story, he's actually the first MMA event I ever went and watched. My buddy was in the Army out in Hawaii. So he's like, hey, there's this MMA event going on, Icon Sports. He's like, come, we should go check it out. First fight, or the main event, Robbie Lawler, Jason Mayhem Miller. So,
Robbie Lawler, who later trained here.
Who later trained here, yeah, I met him, however many years, it was like 7 years ago.
Wow.
So, I met him, he now
Must
trains
have been a
with
good fight
us.
too, those two guys.
Yeah, it was a great fight. Really impressed by both of them. Definitely learned Mayhem can take a beating and still win in that fight. Robbie was beating him up pretty bad, and then Mayhem caught him in an arm triangle, I believe. So, shows you anything can happen.
Anything can happen out there in the octagon. Your last fight against Jared Hammond, you had him beat a couple of times, once with a choke, once as the first round came to an end and you were pounding him in the center of the octagon. He escapes defeat narrowly 2 times and then ends up with a TKO over you. That one I know didn't sit too well with you because you thought you had the fight won a couple times.
Yeah, just some mistakes. Definitely set a high pace in the first round, going for that finish. If you don't get it, it puts you in a bad spot. But I'm the kind of guy that's going to go out and try to finish the fight every time. Don't really have too many decisions on my record.
Talk about how tired you get. Number one, full strength choking somebody, and then on top of that, also in that same round, just throwing punch after punch and haymaker after haymaker. You had said that your body almost locked up on you after all that.
Yeah, just had a little bit of trouble rehydrating and stuff. But yeah, when you're out there squeezing, trying to finish that choke, you're using a lot of energy. It doesn't look like you're doing much, but burn your arms up, and then when you go for a finish, had him hurt. I was going for the finish, just blew my arms out, and in the second round, my body just kind of shut down on me. Hip was pretty much done, but everyone goes into fights with, banged up. You never know what he was dealing with, so he's just the better man that night, and maybe someday I'll see him down the road.
Yeah, hopefully for you, you will, and get another shot at that. How long after that fight did you realize you had to get the surgery? And just kind of take us through that process up to and through the surgery. Tell us what they did.
Just kind of leading up to the fight. We have an in-house doctor and stuff here. I'd been talking to him, just kind of describing what was going on. I had a lot of pain and going down my leg, which we thought, maybe torn hamstring or something. I was still able to train and everything, but just kind of noticed it was getting progressively worse. Then after the fight, I had a lot more pain in there, and then I took a couple of weeks off and was like, all right, it should be fine. And I come back, the pain's still there. It was even worse, So that's when I went in to saw a specialist. He injected my hip with this, basically radioactive dye or whatever, light it up under their MRI. And the doctor's like, yeah, your labrum's done. It's like, you need to go in for surgery, and from there that started almost a 3-month process of getting the surgery. And then
what was the date of the surgery?
November of last year, I believe, November 3rd or 4th or something.
Okay, so how long were you, first of all, what did they do when they were in there?
They basically went in, they didn't know what they were going to be dealing with when they got in there. They went in and said the labrum was still intact. There was no damage to it other than it had been detached off my hip joint due to a bone spur on my femur. So it was kind of like a progressive injury over all the years of wrestling and everything. My right hip.
Right, yep.
So yeah, just over the years, that bone spur kept rubbing and just tearing off my labrum basically. So they went in and put 3 plastic anchors in, reattached it, cauterized the femur bone, got rid of the bone spur. Doctor told me it's now better than my left one. So he basically...
Bionic.
Yeah, it's all natural still other than the plastic anchors, but good to go now.
What about the rehab? Take us through that. I mean, it's something with a hip, obviously, you don't realize how much you need it until something's wrong with it like that, but how long did it take you to walk again, and then what did you start doing when your rehab started? Take us through all that.
Well, initially I went to Vail, Colorado to the Stedman Clinic, got my surgery. First day out of surgery, I wake up, they have me out on an exercise bike that morning, working out. I look over, Andre Agassi sitting there next to me. I'm like, this guy looks familiar.
Nice.
In getting the same exact surgery. It's kind of crazy, you know. So yeah, went through that up there, did like 4 days of rehab there, and then came back to Arizona and started over at Fisher Sports over in Phoenix, working with a guy named K2. His real name's Kazuki Kano, a Japanese guy. Great physical therapist. And just every day for 12 weeks going in, started with the little simple stuff of laying on my back, just raising my leg up a couple inches, you know, just basically learning to walk again. Going through all that, a lot of stretching, a lot of soft tissue work where they would get in there and work on my leg, on the scar tissue. Had basically 2 incisions, a lot of scar tissue in there, so they were in there with special little plastic tools, breaking all that up, getting all that fixed. A lot of just little like light ankle weights on, just it's kind of a lot of stupid stuff, but you know, it just eventually built me up to, you know, being able to do body weight squats and balancing. This is a long process for sure. So.
And get you ready for camp, and now here you are in camp getting ready for the Mayhem fight. And just maybe take our audience, CB, through what a camp is like. Not necessarily the entire thing, but just day by day. What's a typical day like during training camp? What time are you getting up? How are you starting your day? How do you schedule the workouts? What are you eating? All that kind of stuff.
Basically, we've kind of got it down to a science now. I work with the same strength coach and same coaches as Ryan Bader and Aaron Simpson. So on my timeout, Ryan Bader and Aaron got to fight a couple times, and we're kind of a new team, you know, so everyone's now working together. We've got a good schedule down and a good system. So when I came back to get ready for my camp, they already had it down. They're like, this is how it's going to work. 12 weeks, first 4 weeks is a lot of strength and conditioning, you know, so I was in here almost 4 days a week doing just the strength and conditioning stuff, getting strong, getting ready for the last, you know, 8 weeks of all the sparring technique, you know, just getting my body ready for all that. And then it's kind of broke down, you know, every day is different. It's just kind of, they watch and see how I feel. You know, if they're like, oh, you look like you're beat today, you know, they're gonna back the training down. There, no more of that, let's just push through it and wear you out, you know. They back it off until you're ready to go again, you know. So they're real good about keeping you fresh. And
head coach Tom Vaughn coming in obviously is a big part of that with the master game plan, right?
Yeah, Tom Vaughn basically I have a boxing coach, jiu-jitsu coach, and MMA coach Tom Vaughn. But Tom Vaughn is kind of the top of the food chain. He oversees everything, makes sure everyone's doing what he wants to do and everyone's working together. So his experience has been invaluable to us.
What is your schedule like fight week? I know you're doing a lot of press, a lot of events with the UFC, still doing a little bit of working out, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing a tiny bit of working out, but all the work will be done before we get up there. It'll just be staying sharp, keeping the diet right, and making weight.
Cut down day. right before weigh-ins. Is that something you have to worry much about, and what is that day like leading up to the weigh-ins?
In the past it has been, and you know, I think that's been a kind of one of my flaws, is cutting too much weight. It's really affected me in the past. I just today weighed 196 pounds. I'm used to cutting down from around 210.
Big difference,
yeah,
energy-wise, probably,
energy-wise, right? Yeah, I'm not gonna have the size and strength, but I'm gonna have the endurance to be able to go those 15 minutes and be ready. You know, it's I think that's gonna be more important than being big. You know, just kind of took a page out of Frankie Edgar's book. The guy doesn't cut any weight, and he's been fine. He's a world champion. You know, so
yeah.
Obviously that says something.
How about the final 24 hours? Do you sleep much that night? Is it really tough to sleep? What do you like to eat your last meal before you get into the octagon? And talk about that time leading up to going to the arena.
Basically, in the past, you know, maybe the earlier fights in my career, there was a little trouble sleeping. Now I know what to expect. I've been there. This will be my 10th fight in the UFC. You know,
old dog now.
Yeah, I'm kind of a vet now. So it's kind of weird to say, but yeah. Night before, I should sleep fine, get up, and my trainer Jason Kamens he'll be up there with me, you know, and kind of coach me on, you know, this is what we're gonna eat today. This, you know, just walk me through it. It's nice having those guys. I don't have to think. They're just gonna tell me what to do, put me through it, and I trust them. You know, seeing what they did with Bader and Aaron, so I'll be ready to go.
What are you doing the hour before the fight, and as you walk out to the octagon, what's on your mind?
Just the hour before. Just try to stay calm and realize that the fight is still an hour away. You know, no reason to get all pumped up now. When we start getting close, you know, 15, 20-minute mark, start, you know, going to a different place and in your head, getting ready to go to war. You know, you start, just running all the scenarios through your head, getting ready, pumping yourself up, you know, making sure you know you're going out there to win.
The last 5 seconds before it's go time, you're staring at your opponent across the octagon. What's on your mind at that point? I know for this fight it'll be, hey, I'm finally back in here, but usually what are you thinking?
It's just go time, you know. It's everything you've done in the last 12 weeks, all that build up, all the anxiety. You know, a lot of that comes with fighting, is a lot of people don't know about. There, you know, a lot of build up, a lot of nights, you know, laying in bed thinking about the fight. Well, now it's here and it's time to go get it.
Last one, and I feel like personally you'll be experiencing this again May 26th in Vegas, but what's it like when you get that arm raised in that big arena full of all those people? You trained so hard and so long for that moment and you achieved everything you wanted.
You know, there's no feeling in the world like it. No, you know, I've won state championships, national championships, All-American. I mean, they're all great, but there's no feeling like winning inside the UFC. You know, it's best feeling in the world. It's a feeling I felt before, and a feeling Jason Mayhem Miller has never felt. And come May 26th, he isn't going to feel it then either.
So, there we go. Advice for Mayhem Miller.
Watch your neck, because CB's probably going to choke him. I think I read that Mayhem said that CB doesn't belong in there with him, and I just encourage him to just believe that. Just think that, bring that in there.